Let's look more into yet another strange mystery that stems from the dark and foreboding history of Alaska's dark interior.
On a bright July day in 1942, two bush pilots named Babe Ellsworth and Bill Hamsley embarked on what seemed like a routine flight over one of Alaska's most remote and mysterious locations, Lake Iliamna. The lake itself, vast and seemingly tranquil, held secrets lurking beneath its deep, cold waters. What they glimpsed was a massive aluminum-colored creature, unlike any fish or animal they had ever encountered. Ellsworth and Hamsley's terrifying discovery. The year was 1942. The world was engulfed in war, but high above the wilderness of southwestern Alaska, pilots Babe Ellsworth and Bill Hamsley were focused on their mission, flying over Lake Iliamna to deliver supplies to remote settlements. Their plane, a sturdy Stinson ferry, was built for such rugged tasks, and the skies that day were clear and calm. As the men flew, they allowed themselves a moment to enjoy the breathtaking view of one of the largest lakes in the United States, with its deep blue waters stretching for miles, framed by towering pine forests and rugged mountains. Suddenly, Ellsworth spotted what appeared to be strange specks near an unnamed island at the lake's center. Instinctively, the pilots circled closer for a better look. What they saw defied explanation. Huge creatures with smooth, silvery, almost metallic bodies gliding just beneath the water's surface. Their long, tapered bodies stretched well beyond what the men initially estimated, and their broad, blunt heads contrasted sharply with the slender tails that waved side to side. This tail movement puzzled the pilots, for it differed from whales, which moved their tails up and down. Ellsworth and Hamsley were struck by the creature's size. Each seemed to be longer than the plane's pontoons. Their presence suggested something prehistoric or alien to the local fauna. The pilots circled several times, trying to capture a clearer view, but the creatures slipped away into the lake's depths, disappearing like phantoms. This encounter was the first recorded modern sighting of what would come to be known as the Iliamna Lake Monster, but it was not the last. Soon after, local fishermen began reporting lines torn apart by unknown forces. Pilots described shadowy shapes moving through the water, and residents told of missing swans and wildlife. The mystery deepened. How did this initial sighting influence the growing intrigue surrounding Lake Iliamna? What other witnesses came forward? The vast inland sea of Alaska. To fully appreciate the legend of the Iliamna Lake Monster, we must first understand the sheer scale and uniqueness of its habitat. Lake Iliamna is a true giant among North American lakes. Covering approximately 640,000 acres, it is the largest freshwater lake in Alaska and the third largest in the United States, surpassed only by the Great Lakes. This inland sea stretches approximately 77 miles in length and spans up to 22 miles at its widest point. Its remarkable depth of nearly 1,000 feet plunges into the earth with a darkness and mystery that beckons exploration. To put this depth into perspective, imagine stacking the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest skyscraper, 3 times. That is the vertical distance beneath the lake's surface. The lake is situated in the remote southwest region of Alaska, near the town of Solovia and at the northern edge of the Alaska Peninsula. This isolated location means the lake is largely untouched by frequent human activity, accessible mainly by float planes or rugged boats. Such remoteness has preserved much of its natural state, maintaining cold, oligotrophic waters that sustain an ecosystem adapted to harsh, icy conditions. British biologist Ivan T. Sanderson once described Lake Iliamna not merely as a lake, but as an inland sea, emphasizing its size and ecological significance. This vastness and depth create an environment perfect for harboring large and elusive aquatic life forms, possibly species unknown to science. The lake's waters conceal complex underwater caves, deep channels and thick kelp forests that provide shelter and hunting grounds for various creatures. The lake's isolation has also limited extensive scientific study, allowing legends and stories to flourish in the absence of concrete evidence. Could the natural grandeur of Lake Iliamna be hiding ancient or unknown life forms? What makes this inland sea so perfect for a giant mystery? Ancient voices. Long before pilots spotted mysterious creatures in the 1940s, native Alaskan tribes shared stories passed down for generations, tales of massive beings that dwelled beneath the waters of Lake Iliamna. These legends weave together folklore, spirituality, and a deep respect for the natural world. The Tlingit people refer to the creature as Isla, a massive serpentine entity said to patrol the lake's depths. Descriptions portray it as a giant fish-like beast with smooth, metallic-hued skin and a broad, blunt head resembling a wolf or shark. The creature is reputed to possess incredible strength and cunning, able to ram boats and drag victims beneath the surface. The Aleutian tribe speaks of Jeknak, a similar giant that inhabits the lake's waters, while the Aleutes warn of the Jignok, a predator so fearsome it drives fishermen away. According to these tales, the creatures travel in groups, attacking boats and warriors, exhibiting both fierce intelligence and territorial aggression. One particularly haunting legend tells of the Gona Cadet, a man banished from his clan after killing the lake monster. Donning the creature's skin, he transformed into a hybrid beast with the body of a whale and the head of a wolf. This being became a guardian or predator, feared yet revered. Such myths reveal not just beliefs in monsters, but a profound connection between the people and the wild, unpredictable lake. The stories function as warnings, spiritual guides, and attempts to explain the unexplainable. How do these ancient legends connect with modern sightings? Could the Isla and Jeknak be more than myth? Eyewitness accounts through the decades. In 1945, pilot Larry Rost claimed to have seen a giant fish with a pale aluminum color over 20 feet long. Nearly 2 decades later, in 1963, a researcher observed a creature 25 to 30 feet long that did not surface for air, an unusual trait for a large aquatic animal. Missionary Chuck Kuchetz encountered the monster twice while flying over the lake in the 1960s. His friend's attempt to catch it using steel cables and massive tuna hooks ended with his plane being violently dragged underwater. The cables snapped, hooks bent, and the boat was lost. Kuchetz barely escaped with his life. In 1977, veteran pilot Tim Leaport and 2 passengers witnessed a 12 to 14-foot fish near Pedro Bay. The creature displayed a vertical tail movement and dark coloration, arching dramatically before diving deep. More recent decades have seen fewer sightings, but each adds tantalizing hints. Some villagers reported a black fish with a white stripe on its fin, suggesting possible color changes or different individuals. What prevents the capture of undeniable proof? Is the monster simply too clever, or does it dwell in places humans cannot reach? What could the Iliamna monster really be? When confronted with decades of eyewitness accounts describing a massive, elusive creature in the depths of Lake Iliamna, scientists and enthusiasts have sought rational explanations grounded in known biology. Over time, several compelling theories have emerged, each attempting to demystify the enigmatic monster with species native to or possibly migrating through the lake's waters. One of the earliest and most frequently proposed candidates is the northern pike. Known widely across North America, the northern pike is a freshwater fish famed for its aggressive hunting style, sharp teeth, and lightning-fast strikes. Their sleek, torpedo-shaped bodies allow them to dart quickly through water, ambushing prey with surprising ferocity. Local hunters recount tales of strange sunken logs beneath their boats that would suddenly spring to life, dragging swans and other waterfowl beneath the surface. These logs were described as massive, sometimes as long as the hunters' 18-foot skiffs, with eyes large enough to rival soccer balls. Such stories align intriguingly with northern pike behavior and physical characteristics. Yet, biologically speaking, northern pike rarely exceed lengths of 5 feet, with the largest recorded specimens topping out near 5.5 feet and weighing around 60 to 70 pounds. While formidable predators in their own right, they simply cannot account for the gargantuan sizes reported by numerous eyewitnesses, some describing creatures upwards of 20 or 30 feet in length. Moreover, the oligotrophic, nutrient-poor nature of Lake Iliamna makes it difficult to support a population of such large pike, which require abundant prey to sustain growth. Consequently, while pike may have inspired some sightings and stories, their biological limits make them an unlikely culprit for the legendary lake monster. Another popular theory revolves around the white sturgeon, North America's largest freshwater fish species, and a creature steeped in its own aura of mystery. White sturgeons can reach lengths exceeding 20 feet and weigh up to 1,500 pounds. With a lifespan surpassing 100 years, they are among the planet's longest living vertebrates. Their thick, armored backs and bony plates could explain reported damages to boats and fishing gear, resembling tooth marks or massive scars. Sturgeons are predominantly bottom dwellers, often staying submerged for extended periods and surfacing infrequently, which aligns with eyewitness accounts describing a creature rarely breaching the water's surface. Despite the compelling size and behavior match, scientific surveys have yet to confirm the presence of white sturgeon in Lake Iliamna. While sturgeons are native to some Alaskan rivers and coastal areas, there is no verified evidence they inhabit this lake. Without physical specimens, photographs, or reliable scientific documentation, this theory remains intriguing but unproven. A third and increasingly favored possibility is the Pacific sleeper shark. These ancient, slow-moving sharks can grow between 20 and 24 feet long and are known to inhabit deep, cold waters of the northern Pacific. They prey on seals, fish, and carrion, with a stealthy ambush hunting style matching descriptions from eyewitnesses who describe log-like or shadowy forms in the lake. Their vertical tail movement and preference for depths of several hundred feet correlate well with the behaviors reported by pilots and fishermen. Is the Iliamna lake monster a known animal behaving strangely, or a mysterious entity science has yet to understand? The debate continues, and the lake keeps its secrets close. Folklore and mythology. The legend recounts the story of a man who married a woman from a high-status family but was despised by his mother-in-law because of his reputation as a gambler and outsider. To prove his worth and silence his critics, he built a small hut near the lake's edge and crafted a deadfall trap to capture the legendary lake monster, a creature both feared and revered by the locals. After successfully killing the beast, the man donned its skin and discovered he could swim through the water like a fish. This gift allowed him to protect his village during a time of famine by catching fish with unparalleled skill. However, his mother-in-law claimed credit for his successes, prompting tension. Eventually, the villagers learned the man's secret and, fearing the power he had gained, banished him from the community. In punishment and transformation, the man became the very creature he had slain, the Gona cadet, a monstrous being with the body of a whale and the head of a wolf. It was said to prey on seals, luring them into shallow waters before attacking. This narrative is rich with themes of transformation, exile, power, and the thin line between humanity and the wild. It personifies the mystery of the lake and human attempts to explain forces beyond comprehension. The story has been passed down through generations and even appears in coastal art and cultural practices, cementing the monster's place in native heritage. Similar tales exist worldwide: the Leviathan of biblical texts, the sea serpents of ancient sailors, and cryptids like Nessie in Scotland all share motifs of enormous water-dwelling beasts that challenge human understanding. Could these powerful legends be reflections of real encounters with the lake monster? or do they serve as timeless metaphors for nature's untamed power? Mark Steiger's Modern Quest. In the 2000 teens, retired wildlife biologist Mark Steiger undertook a personal quest to prove or disprove the existence of the Iliamna lake monster. Armed with commercial halibut long-lining gear designed to capture massive fish, Steiger baited 14 hooks with sockeye salmon heads and lowered them to depths of 100 feet in strategic locations around the lake. For several seasons, the experiment yielded no definitive results, until in 2017, something extraordinary happened. When checking his lines, Steiger discovered his 38-pound anchor had been dragged nearly 50 yards from its original resting place. The lines were tangled, several hooks were cut cleanly, and the metal snaps were bent and misshapen beyond their normal capacity. Given that the gear is manufactured to withstand the tremendous strength of sleeper sharks or large halibut, fish that can grow up to 10 feet and weigh over 300 pounds, the damage suggested interaction with an animal of even greater power and size. Convinced that he had encountered something remarkable, Steiger made the unusual decision to cease further attempts at capture, citing respect for what he believed was an ancient creature, possibly the oldest living organism in the lake. His findings reinvigorated the legend, lending credibility to the idea that a mysterious, enormous creature still dwells in Lake Iliamna's depths. Yet, like decades before, no physical specimen or clear visual evidence has been recorded. Will future technologies finally lift the veil on Lake Iliamna's greatest secret? Or will this ancient monster forever elude discovery? The psychology behind our fascination. Throughout human history, stories of monstrous creatures lurking beneath the waters have captivated imaginations across cultures and continents. From the Loch Ness Monster in Scotland to the Ogopogo in Canada, aquatic cryptids seem to fulfill a primal need for mystery, adventure, and a glimpse into the unknown. The Iliamna lake monster is no exception. Psychologists suggest that the allure of such legends taps into fundamental aspects of human cognition and emotion. Monsters symbolize the boundary between what is known and what remains hidden. They embody our fear of the unknown and our desire to explore beyond the limits of ordinary experience. The lake monster myth offers a narrative through which people can project fears, hopes, and the enduring appeal of discovery. Additionally, lake monsters personify nature's wildness and the power of the natural world, reminding us that despite technological advancements, much of the Earth remains unexplored and mysterious. This duality, fear and fascination, makes stories like that of the Iliamna monster compelling, serving both as cautionary tales and as invitations to wonder. The communal aspect of these stories also plays a role. Sharing tales of lake monsters fosters a sense of connection and cultural identity, whether in indigenous traditions or among modern communities. Belief in the monster becomes part of the fabric that ties people to their environment, to history, and to each other. Moreover, the mystery invites participation. The absence of concrete evidence allows for speculation, debate, and hope. Every sighting rekindles the flame of possibility, drawing new explorers and curious minds to the lake's shores. Why do you think tales of creatures like the Iliamna monster continue to enthrall us? Technological advances and the future of discovery in Lake Iliamna. With each passing year, advances in technology bring new tools to the quest for hidden creatures like the Iliamna lake monster. Technologies that were once the stuff of science fiction, underwater drones, high-resolution sonar, and environmental DNA, eDNA sampling, are now being deployed to explore remote and inaccessible aquatic environments with unprecedented detail. Environmental DNA analysis, for example, allows scientists to detect traces of genetic material shed by organisms into water, providing clues to species presence without the need for direct observation or capture. Applying this method in Lake Iliamna could potentially reveal unknown species or confirm the presence of rare large fish. Underwater autonomous vehicles equipped with advanced cameras and sonar systems can explore the lake's dark depths and cavernous undersea topography, scanning for movements or shapes consistent with large animals. These tools dramatically increase the likelihood of detecting elusive creatures hiding in vast, deep waters. Despite these advances, challenges remain. Lake Iliamna's extreme depth, cold temperatures, and large surface area create logistical and technical hurdles. Long-term monitoring is costly and requires sustained funding and interest. Public fascination with the monster also fuels support for new expeditions, driving collaborations between scientists, local communities, and media outlets. The mystery of the lake monster inspires continued investment in exploration, blending scientific rigor with the human spirit of adventure. Could breakthroughs in technology unlock the secrets of Lake Iliamna? The next great discovery might be just beneath the surface. Reflections on mystery, nature, and our place in the world. In an era dominated by data, maps, and global communication, the mystery of Lake Iliamna reminds us that there remain places where nature holds sway, untamed and unknown. It humbles us, calling us to respect the vast complexity and resilience of ecosystems beyond human control. The creature, whether a real animal, a series of misinterpretations, or a living legend, serves as a symbol of our innate curiosity and wonder. It challenges us to look deeper, to question assumptions, and to embrace the uncertainty that fuels discovery. Legends like the Iliamna monster enrich cultural identity, connecting us to place, history, and the stories that define our understanding of the world. They encourage stewardship and a desire to protect these wild places. Ultimately, the lake monster story is not just about what lurks beneath the water, but about what lies within human nature. The endless drive to explore, to believe, and to dream. As we continue the search, we participate in a timeless adventure, walking the line between fact and myth, science and story. Thank you for joining us on this journey into Alaska's mysterious lake monster. Share your thoughts in the comments and be sure to watch the next video for more incredible mysteries.